This will be the first video dealing with the subject of WordPress. For our purposes, WordPress is a way to instantly create a website online, ironically. No software is required. It's all built right in front of you as you work on your own WordPress website. Just to give you a little history, WordPress was first just for blogging. That's what the technology was built as a way for people to, communicate with each other via a blog. But it has grown into a full CMS, which is a client management system. An example of one of those that you should be familiar with is Blackboard. So it has that kind of power that you can not only just make a simple website if you want to, but you could make a full-on client management system that you could use for your business or one of your clients' businesses. And not only that, it's a full-fledged community because of the blogging capability. The great thing about jumping into WordPress in a beginning class like this is it gives you the ability to add something to your skill set where you might be able to instantly make money for a client. So once you learn just some real basic stuff, you might be approached by someone who says, hey, can you set up a simple website for me? And of course the answer will be yes, and this is what it will cost you. Now there's a couple things that you need to keep in mind. There are two websites for WordPress, and we will be using WordPress.com, but there's also WordPress.org. Now the difference is WordPress is WordPress. Some designers, when they learn more about WordPress, they go to WordPress.org and download WordPress. And then they do what's called self-hosting, where they actually get a server, put the WordPress site on it, so they're using the shell of WordPress. The beauty of that is that they can fully customize it. There's all kinds of plugins available on the web. The downside is that they do have to provide that service. They have to pay for hosting and all those type of things. The WordPress.com that we'll be using, it hosts a WordPress site for you and gives you a free domain that typically has the word WordPress embedded in the center of it. The downside is a lot of the plugins, well, any plugin that you see online, you can't plug in to the online version, and that's all about security. But there's nothing wrong with the way we're doing it. In fact, the website that I use in class, the profsteveg.wordpress.com, is an example of a WordPress site that is hosted right at wordpress.com. So again, just keep that in mind. You're not going to be able to plug and play things in. You will be able to do some customizing, but not to the degree that you can do once you learn enough about WordPress to self-host it. And those of you taking my web design class, that is an option for you to take the class the second semester and go ahead and develop those skills with the help of the class resources. Another big thing to keep in mind is that what you're going to see on my videos not may change, but will change. Unless you're watching these videos right as I'm creating them. When I say this is what the opening site looks like on WordPress, it's probably going to look different for you. When we start going inside of WordPress and making changes, things are going to be different. Things might not be exactly where I'm going. So now you're going to have to flex a little bit of opening up your eyes and saying, all right, if it's not there where Steve's going to, where else could it be? And if all else fails, there's probably videos on the WordPress website that you could gain this knowledge from. So with that in mind, I am going to create a website alongside of you and try to show you everything the way you might see it through your eyes. Now, in the old days, it was just a blog, right? And then for many years, you'd create a site or a blog, whatever you wanted to call it, with WordPress. But at first, it felt like a blog. You didn't have these two choices. So we're going to click the option to create a website. Now, I'm new to this interface myself, so we'll have to see. My guess, though, is that it will still let you put a blog on the site as it has always done. So we'll click here. can see we're on step 1 of 5, and it's asking us what the website is about. My assumption here is that they're asking this because it may give us some better defaults along the way to help us work. It may just be for their statistical analysis. I'm going to choose arts and entertainment because I'm assuming that a lot of you will be using this to build your portfolio website, although business and services would also be another viable choice. Then I'll click on Creative Arts and Design. And it asks us to choose a theme for a website, but like they say here, no need to overthink it. You can always choose the theme later. So if you are making a portfolio website, you have to think it's all about your work. So choose something simple. You probably wouldn't want a very complex, image-driven website like this one or theme like this one. You probably want something very simple. They always every year have their own version of a theme, or their kind of like default theme. So it's called 2016. I believe I'm going to grab that one just as a starter because, like they said, we can always change this. So click there to pick it. And I would suggest for this class you just stick with a free domain. Again, if you're doing something you really like, you can always redo it and then pay the extra money to go with a theme. So here's an example, just like mine is profsteveg.wordpress.com. If you go with just the simple free one, that's what you'll end up. You can also use your own domain if you want to, but let's keep it simple. Everyone just choose a free domain. So start by putting something that you hope is available in here. Don't be surprised if your first choice is just flat out not available. You choose something too common and you're not only not going to find the WordPress version of it, it just somebody else has got it for the .com version and the .net version and so on. So you may have to end up doing something that becomes a cumbersome name. But give it a little bit of thought and see what you can come up with. And if you get lucky and your name's available, that's awesome. I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone here. I want to actually create a WordPress site for a rental, so that's why I'm going with this kind of address here. But if your name's not available, try your name with maybe your middle initial in there. Try your name, plus the word designer. Maybe you have to put a 1 after your name, a 2, a 3, whatever it takes to get there. But once you get there where there are some availabilities, again, avoid these and just find one that's free, that's available, and we'll select that. And once again, they'll try to get you to buy something, but we just want to go with the free plan. And make sure you remember, if you have multiple email accounts, which email that you use. Keep in mind what your domain name is going to be. In this case here, it's going to be antiguahome.wordpress.com. Choose a password and remember which password you use. If you have trouble with any of this stuff, unfortunately, I can't help you. They'll probably have a way to email to reset your password like most places do. And then simply click on Create My Account, and it's undergoing some calculations here, it looks like. It doesn't waste any time, takes you right into your website. I mean, you see how amazingly quick that is? You're right there live on the web already. We could shut this down, go to another machine and type in your URL, and there's your site. You can click here to get started. And when you do click there, it lets you know that you must respond to the email that they sent you out to keep your site going. So, and if you didn't get it for whatever reason, you can click here to have them send it again. And if we go check our email, sure enough, there's a nice easy link to confirm our site, and then just a helpful reminder that all you have to do is use that center part, the beginning part of the URL or your email address to log in to your account at any time. And so let me go ahead and click on confirm now. It's probably going to ask you to enter your email or username and your password. If you're working on a public computer, you probably, well, you definitely want to uncheck stay signed in. And once you do that, because we clicked on new post, it'll probably take you into here where you could create a new post. Most likely going to ask you in class just to show me that you have indeed set up your WordPress account. So let's just do this. Let's put our name. And we'll go down into the content area here and just type in that ever familiar hello world that's so often used for beginning projects. And then we'll go over here to publish. You can see that it's saving that information. The interesting thing here is this is happening all live, so it's letting you know that it has been updated. You can get back to viewing the page by clicking here or by clicking here, and you're now up live running on the web in a very easy way. And you can see by the fact that it says make a comment here, this is for your users, that it is still very much like a blog, the initial setup, even though way back in the beginning we did check to make a website. Another thing to keep in mind is this edit button here. That's because you're logged in, so sometimes this view that you see here will be a little bit different than your user, so you'll typically have an edit button. But anyway, that concludes the initial getting set up, getting your site, and over the next couple videos we'll show how to more and more make this like just a regular website.